Think Realty Nation, it's your host, Abhi Golhar. Welcome to the Think Realty podcast. I'm excited to be here with you today. We have a lot of topics that I'm excited to cover. The first is a market update on Indianapolis, Indiana. A very interesting market. I'm visiting Indianapolis in maybe about a couple of weeks, and I'm excited to see what I find there. But I have a couple of updates for you on Indy before I get there. So that's what's coming up. We have an interview with Demetrios Barnes with SmartRent.com, understanding the use of technology when scaling up your single-family rental portfolio, and also this technology's impact on multifamily. Then we'll talk about why short-term rentals are the future of real estate investing, or are they? I don't know. I'm kind of mixed about this. I'm not entirely sure here. And then, what are some of the benefits that we get investing in real estate? We talk about real estate every day. Heck, it's even called Think Realty, and you can visit thinkrealty.com. But the benefits of real estate investing, that's what's coming up on the show today. You don't want to miss it. This podcast is brought to you by Roofstock. If you're ready to buy your next investment property, then check out Roofstock, the #1 marketplace for buying and selling single-family rental homes. Featuring tenant-occupied rental properties for sale in over 20 states, Roofstock makes it easy to invest in cash-flowing real estate outside your local market. And to help you invest remotely with confidence, all properties are backed by Roofstock's industry-leading 30-day money-back guarantee. Sign up for free today to find your next cash-flowing rental property at roofstock.com/thinkrealty. Let's talk about Indianapolis, Indiana, the birthplace of the Indy 500. I've never been much of a racing guy, but you know what? I went to a race once, and holy cow, those cars are fast. Indianapolis, metro population of 2.1 million people. The median household income is about $54,000. Unemployment rate sitting at a nice low 3.3%. Not too shabby, Indy. Median home price $119,000, and rent. The median home rent, a monthly rent, is $1,133 every single month. So Indy's been long known for manufacturing of air conditioners, car parts, and a lot more. So it has a really storied history, even in the automotive space. And now it's home to over 150 tech companies like Salesforce is there, Angie's List, Moby, and an organization called TechPoint. A huge fan of Indianapolis because you have a lot of opportunities for acquisition between $70,000, $103,000, $104,000, and it's snug. It's sitting right there, and it's beautiful. The Airbnb opportunities there as well, on point. Long-term rentals, single-family rentals for a nice 15, 20, 30-year hold, on point. You should expect to cash flow heavily and nicely in this market. That's a quick market update for Indianapolis. Remember, if you want to invest in a city, make sure you go there and develop a boots-on-ground team. Just a little tip. Let's get to the show and my interview. All right, Think Realty Nation. So you've been waiting for this interview. I've been waiting for this interview. I'm excited to talk about technology, multifamily, single family, and what can we do as individual, kind of smaller investors to keep up and streamline our operations. And with me today is Demetrios Barnes with SmartRent.com. Demetrios, welcome to the show.
Abhi, thank you. Thank you for having me today.
Hey, you got it. So I'm excited because there's a really big conversation with technology for real estate investors, and really starting to kind of gear up here. You have your big funds using keyless entry and things like that. So give me a little background on who you are, what you do, a little bit about SmartRent.com and what you all have accomplished thus far.
Yeah, absolutely, Abhi. Again, thank you. And as Chief Operating Officer and one of the co-founders of SmartRent, it's been a long yet short journey for us. We've seen a lot of buy-in from an investment level, large enterprise players. But what are we here to do? We're here to turn multifamily, single-family homes from normal assets to smart assets, smart communities through keyless access, temperature control, asset protection through things like contact and leak sensors, motion sensors, occupancy sensors. And just in a short period of time, just under a year, actually, we just hit 40,000 units today. So it's been a monumental day for us here in the office.
That's awesome. Congratulations. 40,000 units. That's sweet, man.
40,000 units. Yeah.
Wow.
And it's been remarkable for us. Prior to SmartRent, myself and our executive team, we actually come from a larger single-family REIT, where we did this over the course of about 6 years. We did this internally. And so Recently, and again, within the year, we said, hey, we have to go to market. We have to help people out. We've been here. We've done this. We're not just tech guys in the room. We're guys that get your business. We know how this works. And that's really what it's allowed us to scale as quickly and as efficiently as we have up to this point.
So we talk about these large funds. We talk about these smaller investors. What role should technology play in our space as we're growing the portfolio? Should it be reserved for those that are maybe 5, 10, 15 units plus? Should it be for those investors that are just starting out with maybe 1 or 2 single family homes? Obviously, it makes sense on the multifamily side. So I do want to get into some of the nitty gritty with the products that you have and the impact these products and these tech solutions have on the bottom line for the financial statements of these properties. So if you don't mind giving me a little background there, that'd be really helpful.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And to answer your question, there really is no size requirement. I think of myself, I'm a real estate investor myself. I own a few units, nothing too sizable, guys that are, a couple units here, a couple units there.
Generally it's, Demetrios, generally it's a couple hundred units here, a couple hundred units there. So how many 100 units do you have, man? Like that's kind of, see, I see the twinkle in your eye. I'm on to you. I am on to you.
I'll let you know when we go public. For those guys that are really just getting started, there's so many avenues where you're going to affect your ROI. And I think of myself, for these onesie twosies, the tech has now allowed me to augment staff. I don't need to have a dedicated person overseeing 5 to 10 units or constantly checking on a few houses here and there. So, from that aspect, you have staff augmentation.
Yeah.
How do you drive additional revenue? Think about these younger, smaller groups who are looking to get a foot in the door, trying to meet occupancy standards, trying to raise rents. Well, now you have access to things like vacation rentals, right? Airbnb, right? You have a seamless way to manage that process, which I think we're all learning with the vacation rental space. You can drive, those margins up very quickly just by offering the right package. So technology has really helped there. And then I moved down that life cycle into asset protection. As I mentioned, water sensors, contact sensors, occupancy sensors, things like that. You're now on the front lines of knowing when things are going to go wrong before they go wrong. We can predict issues before they happen. We can have folks respond quicker than they normally would.
Yes.
Versus waiting for someone to pick up a phone and call, right?
Yeah, that's really an important conversation, right? Prevention is always better than care. Both in the property space and then, of course, healthcare, right? Like, I would much rather work out every day than lose my right leg. That just doesn't sound like a fun affair.
Right.
So having this kind of technology in the home and in these units makes sense. What kind of technology should I expect? Are you looking at keyless entry? Are you looking at Nest? Are you looking at, help me kind of paint a picture of what me as an individual investor should expect when deploying a tech package?
Absolutely. And so, I love the name that you said. You can see in the frame. I've got kind of our core package behind me. Keyless entry from a lock perspective. Again, asset protection when you think leak sensors, thermostats. Right, you want smart thermostats. That's going to help manage your vacant utilities. But you did mention things like Nest, which are great consumer products. But for investors, guys that are really thinking about deploying this, you want to work with a provider that gives you a full platform, allows you to control devices, whether occupied, whether vacant, right? So our solution at SmartRent, we have our brain has a cell module inside. So 24/7, you've got online connectivity, so you have access to things. And again, you want more of a portfolio enterprise platform. So as you scale up, you may start moving into accounting platforms or PMS platforms such as Yardi or RealPage or Entrata.
Yes, that's right.
You're going to want a platform that integrates well with these systems to keep your management at an all-time low. Typically, you see folks try and roll these platforms, more consumer-based, and now that requires more work for you, right? And the last thing you want to do is manage the tech, right? You're still trying to drive revenue, so you want to work with the platform provider.
That's right. I'm on SmartRent.com right now, and I'm looking at this I'm looking at this washing machine, and it's like flooded, and it says this, it's been detected, and you get a message. And I think that's really cool because a regular property manager, or let's just take this in a single family rental, right? It would take forever. If this individual was out of state, or was out of state just on a vacation, or my tenant was gone for the weekend, I mean, this would be a hazard. This would be a total pain in posterior, right? And so if I see this immediately, I have access, I can send my plumber over there, and now this is fixed within hours versus waiting a weekend and I have a potential massive spill in my basement. So what's the larger impact of this on multifamily? Because then you're looking at monitoring hundreds of units sometimes, and then it's all of the analysis of the data, and then you might need to have somebody just looking at this. Help me maybe break that down for a second.
Yeah, absolutely. And I will take your scenario that you brought up and apply this to a real world situation for us and one of our clients. We're in West Hollywood, a 4-story building. We're on the second floor of an installation. Later that night, happens to be an HVAC leak from the 4th floor, works its way down to the 2nd floor, right? So 4th floor,
Jeez.
3rd floor.
Yeah.
Leak gets down to the 2nd floor. Our sensors are installed here, right? We're mid-installation, so we haven't made all the way up yet. A service technician was able to respond immediately. He didn't have to go back to his office for a key. He walked straight in, used his phone to get in, saw what was going on, realized the damage, says, oh man, I got to go up 2 stories, right? We have to solve this. Here's the challenge. Now you have to go back, get some keys, get some tools, right, to get into those next few units. So we were able to help them respond quicker. And what this did for our client was something that we really weren't weighing in at the time. We now had the ownership groups, their insurance agency saying, hey, we've got to look at some rebates for you because you're deploying asset protection.
That's right.
Across your portfolio. So they're now saving monies, building their ROI just in the insurance aspect of it, right? Which they came back and said, hey, this is paying for the entire solution.
That's smart. So let's say I'm looking at acquiring an apartment complex.
Yep.
Do I have then this technology route directly to my property manager? Because then they would be the ones that would be responsible for getting to this problem and having it all figured out. And because they already have the tech and the solution, the keys and everything, then it becomes a minute-by-minute response instead of, oh, wait, me, the tenant, I'm going to have to call in, and then it's going to be like 3 or 4 or 5 hours and damage already done.
Right. Abhi, okay. Again, you're hitting on the head, man. And I challenge you to say it's down to the second, right? Because we're notifying multiple levels of groups based on, kind of that implementation that we work with you as a client. But as an ownership group, you want notification, you're getting notification, right? Of the second something happens, your property management team, from the property manager to maybe the service technician, they're getting notified right away. If the home is occupied, the resident is also getting notified right away. So you've got multiple layers of people that are finding out in these moments of potential chaos right away on how to react and respond. And with the technology and the evolution of the technology, we can get preventative now and stop things before they even occur.
That's right. When it comes to short-term, say, Airbnb, this I can also see having a pretty positive impact because now I can have, there could be a bachelorette party, right, or a bachelor party, and let's say they crank the AC way too hot or way too cold, and they're just doing stuff they shouldn't be doing, then I'm triggered an alert by the technology. There's no issue of like snooping in a home here, right? Like this is completely like above board legal. I'm not going to get into like any type of privacy issues or anything like this.
No. Again, Abhi, it's so simple. You're hitting it on the head every time, right? So I would challenge all folks to please work with a provider that has a very open privacy policy that you can understand, how those things work for your tenants. But when I stick with that Airbnb, that vacation rental, it's really about the guidelines and information you put in front of your renters for you. But again, you're exactly right. I think from a multifamily, single family, and vacation rental standpoint, there are so many times where you're going to have an occupant that can hugely damage your reputation, your asset, and now you're empowered to make a control or make a change as quickly as you need to.
How much should I budget in terms of tech when I want to implement something like this? Because clearly I understand the value, I see the value. I can potentially, I talk about property management, but if you're just getting started, I mean, heck, you might not need that for the first 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 or maybe up to 10 rentals. Save yourself a little bit of that cash, and then later as you're scaling, use your property managers and loop them into the tech. But what should be my budget per property on a monthly for something like this?
Yeah, absolutely. At SmartRent, for basic package, lock, thermostat, the brain that controls and communicates with the cloud, asset protection in the form of leak sensors, you're looking at opportunities as low as $500 to $600, including installation, right? That's guys like us coming out here making sure that it's installed right, it's provisioned correctly, you have no issues, so that the experience is top notch. And again, we can, Abhi, you could come back and say, hey, I want my blinds to be controlled, and so we can go higher from there. But,
right.
But I think you want to look at the base, right, and somewhere around that $500 to $600 number.
Got it. And yeah, I'm not on that like Tony Stark level yet, right? Where I need the blinds to be controlled, especially for a tenant, probably like a long-term single-family rental, probably not. So that's $500, $600 one time. Is that monthly? Is that yearly? Just break that down for me again, so I'm clear.
So that'd be $500, $600 per unit. That's a one-time. That's the hardware investment you're looking for.
Okay.
Then there's going to be a software fee that comes with that. Again, that can range depending on the platform. For us, we start that around that $7, $8 a unit per month. Okay. But we also have programs where for the young or new investor, I should say, we work with. We have options to where you can finance and lease devices from us as well, which will incur a higher per monthly unit price for you. But now maybe you don't have to come out of that $500-$600 initial investment for hardware, right? And we can do packages under $100 a month per unit. So a lot of different ways that we can handle that.
Sure. I'm a Samsung guy, right? So I understand that the Samsung S10 is like $1,000. I have zero interest in paying $1,000 on a phone. I'd rather just get on the Galaxy Forever plan and pay the $30 a month. So now I'm with you on that. Demetrios, I appreciate your time today with SmartRent.com. What are some initial steps that I need to take if I need this tech in my house right now? I'm building up a portfolio, scaling up. What do I need to do? How do I get in touch?
Please go to our website, SmartRent.com. Please hit contact, hit sales. One of our many agents around the country will reach out to you, and we're going to get this thing going for you.
Awesome. Demetrios, thanks again. I certainly appreciate it. Think Realty Nation, I've learned a lot about smart tech and how I can scale up with it. Maybe it makes sense to kind of consider this as well. A couple $100 up front and a couple bucks a month to get a little exposure to managing your single-family rental portfolio. Not a bad gig. And then you bring in your property management, loop them into all this technology stuff that you have going on, and now you're a better investor for it. I think it's a great idea. Check out SmartRent.com. This next segment is brought to you by Narada Real Estate Investments, your premier source for cash flow investment property. Visit www.turnkeyrealestateinvestments.com. All right, here's the article that I want to talk about, why short-term rentals are the future of real estate investing. So here's the thing. I'm not entirely sure if they are. Don't get me wrong. I'm a huge believer and a huge fan of Airbnb and HomeAway and VRBO and all these different platforms that are coming up. But, I definitely acknowledge that there are a lot of regulations that the states and the cities are putting in place for Airbnb. Or just like the short-term rental type of platforms, Airbnb being an example. So I do feel there are pros and cons with investing in Airbnb type of opportunities. The one thing that I do suggest, though, is worst case, if Airbnb for whatever reason doesn't work out for you, again, I'm picking on Airbnb just because, it's like the Uber of this thing. If it doesn't work out for whatever reason, have that backup plan. Be able to make this property cash flow with the long-term tenant. That's something that we have to absolutely consider. With short-term rentals, you get higher returns, right? You're not going to get just your 12 or 13% a year. You will expect 15, 16, 17, 18, 19% a year. But also remember, it's also heavier on labor. It is very labor intensive on that side. So make sure you're prepared on that side as well. You can also use these properties for personal use, right? So versus a longer term tenant, you can't really just say, hey, I'm going to go crash in this second bedroom just because it's my property. It doesn't work like that. With the short-term rentals, you absolutely can. You just block off that time on the calendar and you're good to go. But I do feel that the short-term rental market is a good one. Do I think it's the only one? Absolutely not. Would I underwrite for a long-term opportunity? Absolutely. As my worst case scenario. But if I can take advantage of an Airbnb option, should I? Heck yeah. You betcha I would. All right. Let's talk about the benefits of real estate investing for a lot of the new real estate investors out there that are just getting exposed to the thinkrealty.com brand and what we represent here. You know, we love investing in real estate because it offers us income, depreciation, equity appreciation, and leverage, something that Robert Kiyosaki talked about a long time ago in his book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. So don't get me wrong, I did not come up with the word ideal, that acronym, and what each one meant, but it's true, right? You get income if you depreciate the asset, and you know how to do that right. Just remember the recapture later. You get equity. The property appreciates over time, hopefully. And of course, you can leverage that property. You only get these benefits, though, if you invest for the long term, meaning long-term tenants, meaning single-family rentals or some of your Airbnb type opportunities. If you're just flipping real estate over and over and over and over again, like you see on HGTV, guess what's happening? You're not building any wealth. You might be building cash in the bank. That's capital gains that you're paying on that. But you know what? You're not building wealth. There's no long-term cash flow. You're playing this game so you can build yourself out of a job, not so that you create one for a lifetime. There are far too many hard money lenders. There are far too many flippers out there that I see that are so tied into their business, they forget that they need to be building a business, but they end up building a job, and it's so frustrating for me. Anyway, that's my rant. I hope you feel the same way. This podcast is brought to you by Roofstock. If you're ready to buy your next investment property, then check out Roofstock, the #1 marketplace for buying and selling single-family rental homes. Featuring tenant-occupied rental properties for sale in over 20 states, Roofstock makes it easy to invest in cash-flowing real estate outside your local market. And to help you invest remotely with confidence, all properties are backed by Roofstock's industry-leading 30-day money-back guarantee. Sign up for free today to find your next cash-flowing rental property at roofstock.com/thinkrealty. I hope you had a great time on the show. I did. I learned a lot about SmartRent.com and some of the technology that I can use in building out my single-family rental portfolio and, of course, my multifamily fund opportunities as well. Get in touch. Want to get in touch with me? Super easy to do it. You can find me anywhere online at Abhi Golhar. Also, check out thinkrealty.com/podcast to watch and listen to any Think Realty podcast that you would like. Until next time, happy investing.